Today I am visiting Angus, a businessman and friend. He runs a shop called Lemon Garage, which deals in second-hand classic cars. He sells emotion. He sells these vehicles to discerning individuals. Let's go inside and have a look. So the transition from corporate to sort of own business, family-owned business.
Yeah.
I'm sure it wasn't without challenges.
Yeah, huge challenges. You know, when you work in a corporate environment, you've got people that can do things for you. It's basically do that, do that, do that. When you're in a family business, you've got to do all those things yourself, and most of those things you've got to learn how to do it. You've got to teach yourself.
Yeah.
So this is how you do this. So this is how you actually do that. Especially in the beginning when it was me and Daniel.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was that.
And people just, from the outside always see this and they the business and the business owner, and they see all the success, but underlying there's so much that contributes to making something work.
Of course. And also, you need to understand how the business works. You need to understand that everything that happens helps, in your business. So it's got different little cogs.
Yeah.
And even that smallest cog, if that smallest cog is not there, then there's a problem. You can't just put a car there and deliver it. Everything that happens before, source the car, clean the car, fix the car, market the car, and then once you've sold it, all the admin work that needs to be done. But we've got a guy here, Moses, cleaning our cars. When a customer walks in there and the cars are clean, and we get many compliments, Moses helps sell a car. If Moses is not here, that cog is not working.
What I've noticed and seen in your business is that every person is important. You mentioned Moses now, but I've also met Moses, and Moses is as part of this business as you are part of this business.
Yes.
And I mean, I think that value, that entrenched value that you place on people, yes, it's a family business, and I think that there's much to be said about how you managed and been able to run a family business, because that comes with its own issues.
Yeah, especially if it's your children that's involved.
Absolutely, but I think that combined with the fact that you bring people in. I mean, Moses came from, I almost want to say nothing, and he grew with you and to where he is now.
Yeah, and I think, it's also, you can see him grow in confidence.
Maybe touching or going on from that is the family business. I think we sit in a situation where South Africa, going forward, in my view, is not going to be dependent on big corporates anymore. I mean, I don't want to say death of the corporate, but things, or the business you've got running here, the one that I have, is to an extent family orientated.
Yeah.
I almost want to say it brings a different value set that you have to, but how do you enjoy that? How do you manage that? Working with your family and growing a business with them?
Well, I think it's our mandate as people, as Christians, and as men, to care for the people around us. And that I don't only include your blood family. When people become your family. And with that comes a lot of responsibility, and it's not easy. I mean, if it's your son and you have to tell him without breaking his confidence, jy maak nou droog. This is not the way you do it. You do it that way. But it's wonderful. You wake up in the morning and think you're not going to see somebody that you are battling with, that you can't get through to. I'm talking about a corporate world that is, they're slowing themselves down to a point where they're going to just stop.
I think selling a value and having a value and a vision within a family environment, I think it's easier to entrench, and if you believe the same thing, you eventually will achieve what you set your mind to.
Yeah. And I think all parents are probably proud of their kids, but when I send somebody out to go and deliver a car, see a client, whatever it is that they're doing, I get a call. Jeez, where do you get these boys?
Yeah. I mean, there's value in a business like this because you are solving a problem. You are selling a product that people want. And the interesting thing for me is I think you sell something a bit more sophisticated as well as something very emotional.
Yeah.
How do you find that with your customers in terms of the product you sell?
Most people who buy these cars, especially the older ones, I'm not talking about the new sports cars and the newer cars as well. That's aspirational. But for the older classic cars like a Beetle or an MG or an old Merc or a BM or something like that, it's always a nostalgic, personal. My dad used to have one. My mom used to have one. I want to get that feeling again. Manage. We had a lady here from Vanabel Park that was looking for a Beetle, and we had two cars to offer her. The one was a newer car that was restored, beautiful, 100% restored, beautiful. She got in the car, drove it, she liked it. She got on the second car, which was an older car, original car, had a certain smell in it. And when she opened the car, she said, "I want to buy this car." I said, "Why? Gotti, why this car?" She said, "Because this reminds me of my mom's car." And she paid 200,000 rand for a Beetle that reminded her of her mom's car. She loves it. I see her driving around all the time.
Takes you back to that place.
Takes you back. And things like that, I think people, you know, these cars are not A to B cars. You want an A to B car, go and buy something else. This car is a special car that becomes part of your identity. It's like a nice watch or this one. It's part of you.
Yeah. I think what you've just mentioned is that for the people watching out there, a very important thing about selling a product is that emotions sell and people then perhaps rationalize later. And secondly is that there's a story behind something. If you cannot find the emotion and attach it to a story, the sales cycle and the sales process becomes very difficult.
Obviously, not all products or all businesses can find something like that. But certainly, if you're in a classic car business, that's what you can't rationalize buying a 1975 Beetle for 300,000 rand. You can't. You can't do that with your head. You've got to do something with your heart. And when it comes to buying older classic cars, sports cars, you do more with your heart than your head. If you buy with your head, you buy a practical car with a drive plan, with a good fuel consumption, with 4 doors, with boot space, with all of that, But when you buy with your heart, you don't buy a Cabriolet, or you buy a Morgan, a 2-seater with seats blow up as part of the suspension, that type of thing. Really, on that car.
Yeah.
So, it's a very emotional, and you do most with your heart. I mean, we see so many people cry when they sell their cars. Okay, we've had people. I'll never forget Nicky Fourie. One of the first cars we delivered in Bloemfontein was a car that he hasn't even seen. He bought the car from us, and when I delivered the car to him, he cried. He was so happy. 45 years old, his first Porsche, and when he saw the car, him and his wife were there for the first time. He cried. He said, "Nicky, jy kan nie verstaan hoe groot oomblik is dit vir my nie. En die kar is so mooi, is presies wat ek wil hê."
You've just mentioned the brand there. I mean, and in many ways you are a Porsche man. I mean, It's part of your DNA, it's part of your history. Is that the ultimate sports car, a Porsche?
It would be stupid to say it's the ultimate sports car. I mean, history has proven that a 911 has got certain qualities, and it's for me, if I have to buy a sports car, I'll probably buy a 911. But then I love a Ferrari. I think of the older Ferraris. Some of the newer Ferraris are absolutely magnificent. Also like some of the English cars.
Sure.
There's a lot of McLaren. Especially the first F1s and things like that. They are fantastic. But a 911 has proven over decades, just like a Defender has proven, and some of the old Land Cruisers and a Beetle. The iconic cars that will always be. But sometimes owning a Land Rover that leaks oil is part of the ownership experience.
Absolutely. One of my previous vehicles was a Land Rover
You
Defender.
there,
I want it back.
Yeah. I know what it is. The guy still has it.
I swear to you, if I can get that thing back, I've made. Besides all the mistakes I've made in my life, that was one of the mistakes I made. Selling my 110 Defender Puma 2013.
Yeah, and
So-
also at the price you sold it,
I
and
know,
the
it was
price you're
a-
going to pay for it.
Yeah,
now,
well,
you're probably going to end up paying 200 or 300 more for it now. Than
I
you
will,
sold
but I'm almost at that point where I'm willing to just have that vehicle back,
Mm.
to have that feel. That, you've spoken about the emotion, the feel. It's
Yeah.
just that when you lock your doors and you come back and you open the car because the door didn't actually lock. Sort of, or your feet are wet because it rained too much in a certain way, and that it's a beauty.
I've had 13 Alphas in my life. I'm driving that car now. It's one of the oldest cars on the floor. I love it. Okay? I love to drive it. Yesterday morning it was cold, so it took me about probably, I'm not going to lie, 2 or 3 minutes to get it to crank over the first time.
Yeah.
That's it. I knew when I got in the car, this car is not going to start when I turn the key. It's going to take a while. I've got to do this, I've got to do that. It's part of the ownership.
So what's next for Lemon Garage?
First of all, to keep it a family business and to avoid corporate is not always that easy, because with growth comes certain new challenges and certain new things. So the only way I see it growing is to branch out in South Africa. South Africa is a car crazy country, and the natural step will be to move down to the Cape as a next branch for Lemon Garage.